Viewers, well, I've become pretty good mates with a local scrapper. He has a lot of cool stuff, so what I've done, I've traded some junk. I've had an accumulation of junk over time, and I've accumulated it and gave him all that stash, picked up some hot water services on the side of the road, and yeah, we did a bit of a trade. So we've got a few friends who want some small chest freezers, so out of all the fridges and stuff we had out there, I picked out these two. These are in the best condition cosmetically. Most of the stuff's sitting out in the weather. So this one's working. It's a New World. Cheap in its day, but better quality than the junk you get from China you buy nowadays. It's a New World. Fast fresh, which means nothing. I don't know what that does. Pretty a gimmick. I've fixed up a hole there. This is just all surface rust. I'm going to strip all this back. This plastic come off, so I'm going to take that off, do all this stuff and repaint it. Same with the lid. Fix this plastic up and glue it back and lubricate these hinges. This is rejecting good heat. Really working very well. Made in Australia by Nearby Appliances. 255 grams of R12, 180 litres. It's a Tecumseh Kirby compressor, Australian made. I like these compressors, they're very, very well made. That's good heat, that's cold there. That's cold going back to the compressor, that's got a full charge still. Nice. But you can buy freezers with a condenser on it like this, but only the cheap Chinese ones have this condenser on the back instead of inside here. This is a better concept anyway. That's rejecting a hell of a lot of heat, I can feel it. Gee, that's working very well. This one unfortunately is low charge. I'm going to I'll put a line tap on it. I haven't got you can buy what's called a Kirby tool. It goes on here, it snaps on here, seals against this part here. There's a thing in the back you undo it. It's like the similar to the General Motors ones, the meter motor compressors used back in the day. I don't have that tool. I know my local refrigeration supply warehouse has that tool, but it doesn't have the full thing that goes with it where you plug the hose into it. So I'm just going to put a line tap on the suction side. So I've cleaned it up and that's all nice and tight. That shouldn't leak in a nice out of the way spot. I'm going to charge it up with some computer dust, the R152H, since that's so readily available and so cheap. And that works very, very well, so as a replacement for R12. So I'm just going to put some of that in there and see how it goes. This is probably from this is actually a Bonaire, made in Australia, made in New Zealand by Bonaire, which is an air conditioner manufacturer, part of Sealy International nowadays. Didn't realise Bonaire actually made domestic appliances other than air conditioners, but there you go. But it's a New Zealand made, it's probably be mid to late 70s, or yeah, late 70s I'd say. 1/5 horsepower, another compressor. It's another one of those Tecumseh compressors, Kirby compressors. That one there seems actually taller, E106-1. This one is a model E110-1. Looks shorter. It actually does, it looks like a shorter, must be a smaller motor, is it? It'll say what? CS72N AE5ZF9, slightly different model. 1/5 horsepower. What's this in here saying it? R12, doesn't say the horsepower. 1.1 full load amps, just like the other one. This doesn't say the actual horsepower. It's smaller though, smaller compressor. Anyway, it wouldn't have for it to leak all of its refrigerant out since the late 70s. It's done pretty bloody well, but I'm going to charge it up and have it on test for a while to make sure it's not actually anything major. Could even be this valve that's leaking, who knows. So anyway, let's get it charged and give it a test. And the proof this is getting cold. Look at the frost line. You see where the coil is? The coil is wrapped around here. Nice stainless steel. I'm going to run silicone all through here, seal this right up, because underneath that we have water. and a little bit of rust underneath the cabinet outside there where the compressor is. This works very well. Anyway, let's get my refrigerant gauge set out and get this thing charged. Alright, there was only about 5 psi remaining in the system, so if it was a leak major, there'd be nothing in the system. I'll be under a vacuum on the suction side. Going in there now, that tap's closed. Just leaking out of here, so I don't want to get any air in the system. There was definitely positive pressure in the system, but absolutely bugger all. Just hear anything. Got another condenser like this one here, so you won't be able to feel it as easy on the outside. It's not even warm yet. Oh, a little bit, it is a little bit. I'm starting to hear it go through. I'm hearing it bubble a little bit. Frost lines there, see? Getting there. And bit by bit. A little bit more at a time. It's about 10 psi on the low side, so I'll go stop there for a bit. The frost's up here, I can hear it boiling. That sounds better. If you listen carefully, hear the refrigerant boiling in there. Now I'll let this thing on test for a while before I do a cosmetic restoration on it, just to be 100% sure it's going to function correctly. For that to be its original charge and it's lost it, there was a residual about 10 psi left in the system, residual pressure, so if it's leaked down to that much since the late 70s this thing was made, it's done pretty bloody well. So I've inspected all around here and I couldn't see anything obvious, so I'll get the sniffer tool out later and we'll get the sniffer tool out and double check. Worst case scenario, the leak's going to be inside here. Because that slow, it took 40 years to lose its charge. That's doing almost 50 or 40 years. So it took 40 years to lose its almost, or 90% of its charge. This thing's doing pretty bloody well. This is works at a lower pressure anyway than R12, this R152A. As I said, you can just go over the counter and buy this at Bunnings and blow your computer out with it, so. It's cheaper than R134A, which you can buy R134A at JCar as computer duster as well, or at my local place, Mallee Bearings, Engineering and Bearings Shop. It's freezer spray, CRC freezer spray, that's R134A as well. That's used for troubleshooting electronics. I know Tech Labs sell their brand of freezer spray too, which is R134A as well. But this R152A is best bang for my buck, from my experience, so I'll stick to this. It's cheapest, comes in a bigger can too, which is good. And it's convenient to buy because Bunnings is open on the weekends as well. And or JCar where I am, it's open till about 12 o'clock on Saturday, closed on Sunday, so from my experience, for bang for buck and convenience, this is the best. Yep, frosty up there. Now ideally you should vacuum the system down for a while to get all the old refrigerant out, but for doing my research, this R152A was blended with R12 back in the day to make other various refrigerants, so this is compatible with R12, so there's only a tiny minute amount in the system, it's not going to matter. It just won't be 100% pure R152A system, this. So that's something you've got to be aware of when you do the gases. Make sure that you do your research on which gases are compatible with each other. Because if it wasn't compatible at all with R12, I would have to vacuum this thing down for a while to get all the residual messability of it out of the oil, because the oil was like carbonated water. When you open a bottle of lemonade, it goes and bubbles come out of it. Same with the refrigeration, the oil. The refrigerant is carbonated, so to speak, in the oil, miscible in the oil. And when you pull in a vacuum, it all comes out of the oil. And tiny specks of it come out within the motor windings and inside the valve and mechanical parts of the compressor itself, in between the windings and the slot liners of the motor. Ideally, a vacuum is good to get rid of all that. But in this case, this R152A has been around for decades, and it's been mixed of years with blends of R12 and other similar refrigerants at the time, so it's compatible the way I did it anyway. Professionally, they will just vacuum it out, have it on, vacuum it right down, and then they'll put nitrogen in here, and I put about 150 or so psi, leave it in there overnight, but on the gauge. If the needle does not budge, we know we have no leak. Or if you want to get really serious, you can leave it on there for a month, for example, and if it hasn't moved, it's not a leak. Just a metaphor, well, just theoretically speaking anyway, hypothetically speaking. Oh, that's cold. Yep, you can hear it boiling a lot. Not much on the sides though. I wonder if it's only got... Nah, it's got to be on the sides, surely. Fully frosting up here, you can hear it boiling. I'll leave it for a while, because the sides, I wonder if it's just got the coil there, and it goes there, but the sides don't have coils. Possible. Usually the coil's up to around the inner skin, all the way around it, the evaporator. This is not frosting up on the sides. It's only getting cold there and there, and that's going to add more. But in theory, it should just get cold down here, all the way around, theoretically. Interesting. Interesting. We're getting cold though. It's a little cold around here. Anyway. Okay, I've been running for about 15 minutes now, both of them. This has been running for about 20 minutes, by the way. Hasn't cycled off yet. It's probably on the highest setting. The thermostat's in there to adjust it. Got to fix that bit loose. Yeah, it's a smaller one. It's going to be a smaller compressor, a smaller motor. It's quieter than that one. Look at that frost line. Look at that. Well, it's cold in here. Spider. It's frozen. That's funny. That'll cycle off any minute now. Not sure what this gimmicky switch does. The neon's burnt out. Fast freeze, is it? Don't know. Freezer, power on fast freeze by New World. This company made stoves as well. This is all surface for us. They're going to cover this off, take this off, and just wire wheel it all. It'll come up good. I love their beers, whoever owns this. XGS 4-wheel drive suspension. That's alright, it'll clean up. It'll clean up. Someone's obviously this in their man cave. Hello, beer. It's been there for a while. It'll clean up. It's only surface rust. Works quite well. I'll adjust this, lubricate these hinges too. These ones are adjustable. The newer ones, well, some of the cheaper ones are like that. You couldn't adjust them. There's your springs which go across there, and they work against each other. As a counter spring against the hinges when you open the freezer door. That's all cleaned up nicely. There's a little adjusted thermostat there. And you can put a little, there's little holes here. I could utilise those. I put a big grill in there with a fan, like I did in my carbonator freezer. Nice and hot compressor. That's hot too. Yeah, they're both pretty bloody hot to the touch, which is normal. Heat rejection. But the idea of having a fan to come on when the compressor comes on, it'll cool it and pull the heat out and cool the compressor down. It'll last a hell of a lot longer. Anyway, that'll be enough for now. Look at the frost on this one. Thanks for watching.